Hello, nonfiction readers. We are going to talk and practice more about our subtopics, that new word subtopics. Where does it fit in our organizing our nonfiction text? Where does it fit? Where does it belong? We're going to talk more about it today. That subtopic will be important. So again, remember, as a nonfiction reader, you're reading to learn. And we have to organize what we read in our heads or on paper because there's just so much information in these nonfiction books. A subtopic is a more specific section or chunk or part of the main idea. Subtopics help categorize how we break up or organize our information. It's like a heading. A subtopic is like a category when we organize. Here's another look how we organized it when we read about the octopus yesterday. An octopus has a unique and interesting body. That's a sentence that summarizes all of what I read. It's the main idea. A subtopic is kind of like a heading where you say what one section was about. Underneath, we can give supporting details. So this subtopic is the main body. Under there, we can say more about the main body by giving supporting details. The body is called the mantle. It has no bones so that it can squeeze into places, and there are suckers all over the body. Okay, so you see how I organize it. I have my main idea. I have subtopics about that main idea, and then I have even more details about that subtopic. It gets more specific as I go along and zoom in. Again, a quick way to organize while you're reading is to put your main idea on your palm and then say each of your subtopics or each big chunk of what you read. We are going to practice together and we're going to use the book that you're familiar with. I am going to read to you a book. And while I'm reading, we are going to practice what you would be doing in your everyday reading life. Just a moment and I'll share it with you on my screen. We're going to practice organizing our reading. We are going to read Environment, A World of Change together. And we are going to organize what we read as we go along. We are going to make main ideas, subtopics, and supporting details. I'm previewing my table of contents so I get to know what my book is about. Okay. Counting on change. Some people say that the only thing that stays the same is change. In this world, change is something we can count on. What is here today may be gone tomorrow, or if it is not gone, it may not be the same. Day becomes night, seeds become plants, food becomes waste, and you grow up and become an adult. Yes, you can count on it. Change is here to stay. Okay, so I'm already thinking that my main idea has to be something about change. Whew, okay. Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to remember that the title is Environment, A World of Change. And we're really talking a lot about change on this page. So I'm going to say, for now at least, that my main idea is that our world always changes. And you see, that's a whole sentence. It's not just a word. Our world always changes. That is my big main idea. It's what I think my whole book is going to be about. Let's keep reading to make sure. Water. Nope, there's that heading, water. Water is a part of a cycle that is constantly changing. Water in its liquid form heats up and becomes a gas. The gas rises into the air. It cools and comes back to earth as rain and snow, or it freezes and becomes ice. Temperature changes water's form. It changes and changes some more. Who knows? The water you swim in today may partly be made of the water you bathed in last year. I'm thinking I should stop and chunk this section. Water is a subtopic of our big main idea. So I'm going to organize it that way. I have to stop and I have to remember what I've read so far. So, I'm going to write down water on a big bullet because that's what this section is about. And you know what? I'm going to say more specifically, water changes. That subtopic goes along with my main idea. Our world always changes, but it's a little more specific. I could get even more specific by adding supporting details. What about that water changes? Well, water heats up and becomes gas. I'm going to say that. It's more specific. Water heats up and becomes gas. I want to add another supporting detail. Water freezes and becomes ice. Water freezes and becomes ice. Okay. I'm going to keep reading now that I've chunked this together. Rocks. That heading clues me into what I'm going to be reading about. Rocks seem pretty solid, don't they? It's hard to imagine them changing. But they do, of course. They break down and they come together. Rocks can be broken down bit by bit. It happens through weathering. That is the process by which wind and water break away at rocks. They become sediment. These are rock bits and pieces, such as gravel, sand, and dust. Then, wind or water moves the sediment. It is called erosion. Heat and pressure also can change rocks. Some rocks melt into magma when heated. Some change from one type of rock into another. Sediments also can be pressed into new rocks. I think that my subtopic has to be that rocks change. But I can say more about it. I can add some of those supporting details. I can say that rocks go through weathering. That's more specific. Rocks go through weathering. And that's right from my text, but it's in my own words. I could also say that wind or water moves the rocks. Wind or water moves the rocks. I get more specific as I organize. We have our main idea. Our world always changes. Let's quick label that. That's our main idea. Our world always changes. That's what my whole reading is about. Everything I'm reading is about how our world always changes. Well, next, I'm organizing it into subtopics. More specific chunks. Water changes. One whole chunk of reading was about how water changes. After that, I have to add supporting details. And these supporting details give even more information about that subtopic. Water heats up and becomes gas. Water freezes and becomes ice. We read those things. We know they're right. They support that subtopic, which supports the main idea. We are going to stop reading there, but if we were to continue reading, you would see that there are more subtopics and more chunks to our book. That main idea is what you are mostly reading about, what the book is mostly about. It's the who and the what put together. Don't forget that. It's important. And then the subtopic is a chunk of what you're mostly reading about. Those supporting details are facts or little bits of information, small, tiny details that help support that subtopic and the main idea. I'm really proud of you, third graders. This is tough work being nonfiction readers. Don't forget that you can't sit back and just leisurely relax and read when you're reading nonfiction. You need to roll those sleeves up and work hard. Really look at what you need to do, rev up those minds before you're reading. And then while you're reading, keep up the hard work.